felt like a failure? I have. I want to share my story and help you to recover from your own feelings of failure. No one wants to feel like a failure. Maybe you're in a dead-end job and aren't going anywhere, and you discover your pay is actually going to be cut, or you're being laid off.
Do you feel like a failure?
Probably. Maybe you've tried every diet known to man, and still the pounds, instead of coming off, are coming back on.
Do you feel like a failure?
Probably. Perhaps you're facing the end of a long-standing friendship. Because of something you said or did, your friend no longer wants to be a part of your life.
Do you feel like a failure?
Yes. There have been times when all of us have felt like we were a failure. Whether we really were or not, well, that's a matter of perspective. In any case, whenever you feel like a failure, it's true that reinventing may be for you. I would love it if you would subscribe today by clicking on the subscribe button. That's the red button below the screen. Or right here on the screen, there's a subscribe button that you can also use. I felt like a failure. I had been a pastor for almost 20 years. I've been at the same church 9 of those 20 years, and yet I felt like a failure. The finances weren't good. We were facing some major changes in the United Methodist denomination. I didn't feel like I was being effective in my preaching. I was burned out on pastoral care. I didn't feel like I was being my authentic self. I was facing a lot of fighting between church members and unhappy people. And then I decided I needed to leave. Now, the first possibility was for me to move, but I realized that even if I went to a different church, I would most likely be facing the same things. So I chose to retire early, even though I wouldn't have an income. Some days, especially when I read the latest books from people like Brene Brown, or read some of the comments that Mel Robbins, one of my heroes, puts on Instagram or Twitter, I feel like, wait a minute, I should have stayed and fought, or should have done this.
I am a failure.
I don't believe that's true. Now, maybe I didn't always make the best choices when I was in the ministry, but I know that I made the best choice to retire early. Maybe I didn't do everything right, and I know I didn't do everything right. I'm not a perfect person. I don't always do the right things. But in this instance, I know that I made the right decision. People around me are still questioning my decisions, but when I look back and when I can see how content and relaxed I am, I know that I made the right decision. Here's what I have to do when I think I've been a failure. I have to remember that I came down with shingles when I was in the ministry. Now, this was more like 14 years ago. And I had a situation in the church that I was serving where the senior pastor had a problem, and I was the associate, and I had to become the acting senior pastor, and I'd only been in the church for 2 weeks. I became very stressed, and for about 4 months, I was the acting senior pastor, and it was crazy. It was a large church. I was getting to know them. They were getting to know me, and it was a lot of stress. 1 week after the new pastor was finally brought into the church, I came down with shingles. Ever since then, when I become stressed, I come down with shingles. It's like they're on my shoulder blades, and I feel like I'm kind of sore. I'm thinking, oh wait, what's that? What's wrong with my shoulder blades? I thought, I'm stressed. I can't tell you how many times in the last 2 years of ministry that I was fighting the shingles. I realized every single time that I was stressed. So when I think to myself,
oh, I'm a failure, I did
this, I'm thinking, wait a minute. Now, I know the shingles are still in my body, but do I feel like they're popping out? Do my shoulder blades hurt? I am not stressed. Maybe I didn't always make the right decisions or do the right things, but my decision to reinvent myself by retiring was the correct one. In my experience, reinventing yourself can create feelings of joy and contentment. You can be satisfied with your life choices. I want to help you establish a sacred space where you don't feel like a failure and you are renewing your life or transforming your life. I want to do it by this channel, sharing some of my stories. But if you would subscribe, I would love it if you would also click on the link below and send me your email address. I want you to see the guide that I've created after my own experience on how to know if you are in need of reinventing or transforming yourself in any area of your life. My name is Amelia Sims. This is Reinventing You. I want you to have a life of fulfillment, purpose, and joy. See you on the next one.